Alright, so I've been thinking. People are recommending me to use Codex, and then I figured out there are issues with Codex. So one is there are a few security issues. One is that apparently Codex can just read anything and everything at once, so we don't want that. There's apparently no way to exclude sensitive files, and for some reason the sandbox can break out of the sandbox, which is kind of not what you want a sandbox to be, I'm afraid. I don't know how they justify this. It is a bug that has been there for a while now, and it seems like nobody really deals with this. And my hunch is that this is by design. And if this is the first step, so if Codex starts out with this level of security, then they will not implement something that is actually helpful. Because this is the first thing anybody would implement. I think somebody even wrote this here in the comments. Not sure where though. This sounds is a nightmare. Why is this closed? Somebody wrote that like this would be the very first sensible thing that anybody would implement. So why don't they have that? And that's mad suspicious. But I do like the idea, not necessarily for laser, but for another project that I'm working on and that I've spent most of the week on, to use an AI on the command line. So the idea is that why don't we just use the Linux security options for that? And never give it any kind of permission. Because I really only want the same functionality that I have in the ChatGPT console, or in this basically. I only wanted to look at code and give me back code. And for that it doesn't need anything but access to this one folder. So that should be fine. So the idea is give it its own user and specifically allow the user to only access this one directory. And it did a good job at figuring this out. Now ask it to just make me a make file. Does it use PHP? It put it in there. Interesting. It's a single file thing. So we are going to have to review all this to figure out what it does. So let's read the code that the AI put out. Depths. What is depths? What do we call this? Codex jail? Maybe we want to call this Codex jail. Yeah, let's read this in a proper editor. Codex jail. And let's open that as a new project. Then open. Workspace, reload. Codex jail. We trust this project. So in here we're going to make a new makefile and copy all this in here. I kind of want this in a separate file. Yeah. Let's do jail.php. Tools directory. Wait, where? Okay, so we are going to take all this and just copy it over, because I do not want this to be all in here. So this one, going to go in here, and then instead of doing this here, we're going to copy jail.php into this file. Copy the first input into that. Right. That's a little more clean. Now we need to read this. Why is this on old PHP? Die 2. Why? I guess that's fine. Let's make this a little nicer. While we read the code. So we are reading JSON. This is fine. Generating a slug. This is unnecessarily Codex user. So we're going to need a what are you doing? Run Codex. We'll make gen. Okay, this right. This is fine. Yeah, this is unnecessary verbals, but it's fine. We're going to read this line by line next, but I just want to make it a little more readable first. This is nice too. This is some kind of shell thing. I do like the humor in using AI to build a jail for AI. So we have this, this, and then we would use some stuff here, permissions. Yeah, this is fine. Building a jail for AI. Why don't we have a unit here? Ah, because we need to escape that. Right. So that's kind of limitation there. We could just copy it in here, but no, wait. Going to do this in a second. It's a little more readable. Now this should technically be a switch. So validate, install user, apply ACLs, revoke ACLs, and gen. Yeah, I know. I was away for a while. But I had good reasons, I think. I learned one thing from group projects. Yeah. Well, I mean, it can work. But most of the time, the work that is done is yours. So it can work if you work. Let's share. So I'm trying to set up a situation where I do have co-workers, but the co-workers are clankers. The skill level of the group members was just... Right, we talked about this last time. I remember that. That was a week ago. Still, wait. the people who need AI are not smart enough to use AI? That's interesting. That is exactly what I would expect to happen. Let's talk to the clanker. And that class was generated with ChatGPT. You know that's true. Did you do that on purpose, or? Oh, hey, you're here as well. Oh, that's the guy who only posts single words or single terms. Object-oriented programming. Is that like a prompt? Are you prompting me to talk about object-oriented programming? I would like you to use more words. That would be interesting. I just hate having to document something to do. Right. So we want this one here. This one should refer to the bash variable. Also want to give you. Now the AI will figure out that I call the tool jail for it. So we are putting it in its place. And the unifier has an end variable. Did you notice that when you post files in here, you no longer have a cursor? I really wanted to let GPT give me everything. Ah, nice. But neat. So my first hour of freedom. Nice. So object bird always comes in and posts a single term, and I think it tries to prompt me. I think they are trying to prompt me on talking about object-oriented. I have talked a lot about object-oriented programming. If you can, avoid it. Because you don't need it. And most of the time, it's more hassle than it's worth. This might... I could also make this like a PHP block or something. I don't know. I think I just need to escape this, but I want to double check. Right right, yeah, just escape it then. It's fine. And we have this over here as well. Did it also figure out the other ones? It did. Huh. I even like this better. No, it's fine. It's fine. Like, remember, spend all the time thinking of abstract objects, yeah. And that is usually what happens with object-oriented programming. Is if you get like beginner developers, what they're going to do is they're going to implement their lack of knowledge of the programming language in objects. So they are reinventing the programming language itself, and now you have that implemented in classes. And usually you don't want that. No, it's literally that every single time. Well, there are two things. One is they are beginner developers and they implement a new programming language on top of the programming language. And the other one is when you have some kind of data logic that is documented, they're not going to implement the data logic, they're going to implement the documentation of the data logic. I've seen a very interesting, it was a parser for some kind of electronics logic definition. And the implementation of the parser was literally, well, almost literally line by line, take the documentation and print it as code. So the parser was not like, there is a generalized like if you implement a JSON parser, there are curly braces, there are, all the, let's get a JSON in here somehow. We had an example here somewhere, like this. You want to parse this, and you want to parse these, and you want to parse the commas. So what the object-oriented way of implementing this is, you implement literally parse this, and then parse this string, and then parse what's after this. But instead you could just implement the logic of the syntax. So people usually implement the data logic or the data itself, but not the syntax itself. And that's where all the interesting stuff is. And when they make it, yeah, right, yeah, and then they figure out, well, this is kind of an argument, and maybe all this is like a class, so I should implement a class that has these things as properties. This is so simple. And then they get to like this point where, well, this is not a property, this is an object itself. So maybe I should have an env class that has set properties, but this is also an object. So maybe I need a set env class. And before you know it, you have like 12 interfaces in 4 classes. And it's like, no, you literally just read the individual characters, and the file already gives you the structure you want. Imagine that. The file is already the structure you want. What you have to implement is the structure behind the structure, which is the syntax. So I guess the big brain bug that people fall victim to if they go too deep into object-oriented programming is that they're literally implementing the data and not the syntax behind the data. And that's slow. And most of the time that's something that a compiler can't really optimize well as to. So it's also slow because all the invariants you have to put into this is something that you can only optimize if you know the data. But the compiler doesn't know your data. The compiler understands syntax, so what you have to implement is syntax. Yeah, and it also makes code very brittle, and Yeah, like when an argument here changes its name, you now have to change an interface and a class. And if something in here changes, maybe you now have to change like 3 objects or 3 classes. It's a shame that object-oriented programming became this, because on base level, where it's about services that talk to each other, there is merit to that. But even then, people often, if they implement that part of object-oriented programming, oftentimes they then get into like where they implement even more stuff that the programming language already has into classes. Oh yeah, and reflection too. Yeah. There is no limit to how complex your code can be in object-oriented programming. Right. But I was quick to write. Is there a parser that parses the parser generator? Yes. Oh, you wrote in both. I have to get this chat in here as well. Yes, it's called. What was the? Isn't there like a new parser generator or something? What was it? Bison. You're talking about Bison. A general purpose parser generator. So what you're talking about, you stay in Twitter, that's fine. What you're talking about is a Bison generator. I don't think that exists, but that would be fun. Recursively recursive. Yeah, I'm also trying to recover my own memory, because it has been a week. And we were working on this inspector, and I got it to kind of work. But again, I'm thinking about using Codex. But for Codex to work, I need to put it in jail. Because I figured out that the Codex security guide talks about agent sandboxing, but the sandbox is allowed to read outside of the sandbox. And that's not a sandbox. That's the whole playground. So my idea is, and I'm vibe coding, I'm vibe coding a jail for my command line AI. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to read that code that it outputted. Make use of the compass in my class. Yeah. Well, the thing about I'm literally going back and forth about my stance on AI, because I like AI, but like the whole idea about security is like, do I want OpenAI file access to my projects? And I don't think like the level of creativity in my project is so high that I need to protect it at all cost. So I'm fine with. I mean, I'm literally coding this on stream, so the code is all there. How much more open can this be? So I'm fine with that. But I do not want like system level access for the AI. So this is why I want to put a user sandbox around the Codex sandbox. But so I don't think people should use AI until they could do it themselves. And right now I only use it for stuff that is a chore, or that would take me too long. Or when I know that I want to write like 80% of it fast and then refine it, as we're going to do with the jail that we are building for Codex. I mean, there's also this, what is it called? There's like a study and learn version. And people don't use that, I think. And I've often found myself ending up not even checking what the AI puts out. And the only amount, I think history will judge you in terms of AI to the extent of how you still employed your own thinking in light of AI being there. So, oh yeah, it is faster. I mean, you can often write a bad take quickly, but the AI can do it quicker, a lot quicker. And the last week, two reasons why I didn't stream. One is I was sick. Like last weekend, I went to two like Christmas parties, and the night Sunday to Monday, I slept like 2 hours because, I fell asleep and woke up again, and I had the body sensation of my immune system being on high alert. And then for like 3 days, I barely slept at all. And that was an experience. So it took me like 3 or 4 days until my body fought off the infection, I think. And then this was also a week where at my day job, I had to build like a huge feature. And I vibe coded like 80% of it. And I must say that 5.1 did a marvelous job. Like really good. It's getting quite spooky, which has already, my stance on AI was already softening, and that has done a lot to do that as well. And being able to do that when operating on I had 5 functional neurons in my brain, and AI was quite helpful. So I was talking to a friend developer, and he recommended using Codex, and I do like the idea of not copy and pasting all my code into ChatGPT all the time. But I've not tried Perplexity Labs. I do like ChatGPT quite a lot. And I have compared different, you can also do Claude code on the command line. And maybe they have better sandboxing, or sandboxing at all. I do know it exists now. But I think for now I'll just stay with ChatGPT. Do you like it better than ChatGPT? That one is weird. Why? So we're going to read what the Clanker put out. And it starts with validate. It's more smooth-brained. What does that mean? I will have to see what level of custom instructions I'll have to put into this. Yeah. I do like simple approaches, and I will have to put a large amount of custom instructions that tell it to not do dumb things, basically. But I do like I think you can put like an agents.md in there. I like the idea of that, having project-specific stuff. But I think I will have to find out to what extent I need that. Because again, like a year ago, custom instructions was a good thing to do, but they have improved so much that I don't really need it most of the time. Opt-in monitoring. Let's do the thing that nobody does and actually read the security guide. Oh, to securely operate and manage Codex agents. So I'm only going to use it on the command line for now, I think. Kind of like that better. It looks more professional as well. Agent sandbox. Open and manage containers. Ugh. Seatbelt policy, macOS and Linux SSE. Enforce local. So they pretend like they already have that implemented. Permission limited to the active workspace. So this is a lie. If I can find like 5 or 6 ChatGPT issues or Codex issues that all tell me it doesn't do this, then I think this is a lie. We've chosen a powerful default for how Codex works well. What you don't do is you don't give it its own user that is sandboxed to just these directories. Codex can read files and its run commands in the working directory automatically. However, Codex will need your approval to work outside of the working directory or run commands with network access. Right. You can switch to read-only mode. Yeah, we are not going to trust that this is true. We are not going to need network access apart from it talking to its own server, so that's fine. Let's enable the web search tool, which is fine, I guess. Recommend access and cautions. Yeah, prompt injection is a worry. I wonder though, wouldn't the more obvious approach being to do all this stuff on the OpenAI servers? Like, why wouldn't it be kind of like a ChatGPT that just has file access to your stuff? Codex is allowed to steal code from coworkers on the same... That'd be neat. Just give it your whole Windows Live directory thing. It's fine. On launch, Codex detects whether the folder is version controlled. Yeah, that's fine. The workspace includes the current directory and temporary directories like temp. Aha. Interesting. You're not going to get that, because there's a lot of stuff in temp you should know. You're going to get... wait. What's in temp even? Let me check. There's a lot of stuff in temp. A lot of stuff that I don't want it to know about. So it should get its own temp. Let's ask. it seems like tree in its users home directory, because that would make a lot more sense. I mean, again, it would make immediate sense to just have its own Linux user. Why don't they do that? Current directory, bad. We recommend just using the default. We can read and run commands sandboxed. Hello? What does that mean? You can set these explicitly. Right. Can I run Codex without any approvals? Right. This is the Jesus take the wheel mode. Ask for approval never. We're not going to do that. Command sandbox. Dangerous full access. Dangerously bypass approvals in sandbox. It has a YOLO. It literally has a YOLO mode. They should also have an alias for this that is -- AI Jesus take the wheel. Config.toml. Why do they do toml files? I mean, it's better than YAML files, but test. Yeah, right. I don't care. To test to see what happens when a command is run. Codex sandbox. Okay. Why wouldn't you tell me how to use my own sandbox? The mechanism Codex uses to implement the sandbox uses a combination of landlock. I mean, the question is whether these here. This is macOS. This one doesn't say. This is also macOS, so maybe it's just broken in macOS. Don't care about Windows. Note that when running Linux in a containerized, no, we don't do that. No, don't care. Codex works best with your version. Work on a feature branch and keeping its status clean before delegating. Yeah, that makes sense. Like any other PR, right? We don't want telemetry, thank you. Managed configuration. Enterprise admins can set their default. I don't care. No. Huh. Recommended guardrails. Prefer workspace right for approvals for most users. Keep network access false. Does it literally... Wait, but it probably still has network access to the AI, right? Probably. Use managed config to pin hotel settings. Right. Periodically audit diffs between local config toml and managed policy to catch drift. It's called drift. This is like in Paperclip Maximizer, where you have drone drift, I think. It's a brave new world, where you have to manage the drift of your AI. So yes, 2 layers, and you should use both. Tell most software to use a real temp, yeah. Prevent accidental real temp usage by mounting a home directory onto temp. Recommended implementation in your current jail PHP. Right. So we are going to do this. Bind mounting that directory into. Oh, nice. Again, I am quite impressed by how this works right now. It is a brave new world. Add this after the initial. Okay, I'm going to do that after these binds. Make temp a pointer the codex's uses home. Right. Because you emit bind mounts as bind host guest, this will produce the correct systemd sandbox behavior. Nice. And show the environment points temp usage to home. You build base environment, right? So we can just add this here, right? So temp dir is this. Oh, dang. Oh, yeah, that's dumb. Well, it's just the same, so it's fine. Right. For even better hygiene, make it per run by adding to your inner prelude. Oh, this is the prelude. Link lines. So we are going to add these as well here. Right down here. But we want this to be individual lines. Right. Right. This makes everyone get a fresh temp directory to connect to home. That is fine. Important trade-off for highest possible security. If your real concern is either executable to drop into temp run, then a temp fs temp with no very strong. No, I think this is fine for now. No designation. I think it's importing a settings.json. So something like this, where we do file settings.json. We should give it access to its own jail. That'd be fun. Let's do home go Codex jail. That's fine. Profile paranoid. It gets 2 cores, and we're going to disable network access. So let's ask it about network access. If the former, then oh, this is also interesting. This is a okay. Codex jail. I'm not sure about symlinks. I think I don't have any important symlinks in there though. So that should be fine. Okay, so we can start reading the code now. Validate. Validate does bootstrap. Bootstrap needs the tool. The tool is we copy jail.php into the generated directory. The tools directory is Codex sandbox in here. Is that fine? Right. I guess you could just use the thing. Maybe. Do we need that? I guess this is the main difference here. This is your first time seeing Codex. Well, it kind of is mine as well. But again, I'm not trusting it, anything. I literally do not trust this. I don't trust Sam Altman to not have ulterior motives. And him wanting to send all of my system to the NSA. Well, I would trust it with shell scripts if it has its own user, and if it is literally sandboxed in a Linux user account. That part is fine. But beyond that, I wouldn't trust it with anything. Definitely not. I think I'm not going to do this. I think the PHP tool should literally just be the jail.php. And then in this folder, we do want to make this one here executable. So this is fine. And then the PHP tool is literally just jail.php. Bootstrap is this, so that's fine. So this is just an alias right now. Validate. What does validate do? Validate takes the config and checks whether these are there. Again, if you were to implement this object-oriented in an object-oriented fashion, you would like create a class for this and individual properties and an interface and we don't want that. Let's keep this side by side actually. Why do you resize my text? Okay, so yeah, validate. Validate is fine. Did we actually check it? Test whether this is there. This is. I would rather this uses just an echo, but it's fine. It's a little more convoluted. And this here checks the shares, okay. And we do have shares. And this is a read-only, okay. That's fine. Jail. Back to jail. Next one is gen. What does gen do? Out dear. Sandbox generated. This creates makefiles. Shared MK. Okay, so for each share, it does these ACL rules, which is the same thing it explained all the way up here. This one. ACL and revoke. Right. Apply ACLs. This is fine. So let's see. Set ACL. This is a little convoluted, but this runs the. This runs this command here. Recursive access, default ACL for new files. Right. Okay. Right. And this is revoke. Here it removes them. Right. That was gen. Oh, these are just helper commands. Okay, I get it. This is a convenience list. Oh, this is important. We want to have a user for this. And this is our Codex user. Right. Create user if needed. That's fine. Does this use sudo? We would need to use sudo, right? Can we treat the sandbox like a git read? What do you mean? Create user if needed. There's the home directory. Not sure whether I would need that, but that's an interesting thought. I mean, the idea is that the sandbox just has a transient state of a local folder. And the local folder is already git versioned, so I think that would just be overkill to also git version the sandbox. I think that would be a little too much. Maybe I should publish this on GitHub. I think my GitHub account actually expired or something. Codex, there are two distant network modes. It's easy to conflate the codex to the model backend. If you're using blah 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 blah. If you disable OS level networking. Yeah. I don't want that. Okay. But wait, this not enabled. Okay, so okay. So this was literally to right. This is nice. It's a nice touch. Okay, this does need sudo, so that's fine. That is fine. If I do clip this on YouTube, I will call it putting Codex in jail. Maybe I'll get some clicks. We are doing content here. What's the difference between Codex Max and just GPT 5.2? Because I do like 5.2. I never really do a good job at explaining why you should use the new thing. Just as more stars or more sparkles. Do you want 5 sparkles or 3 sparkles? Huh. Jailbreaking Da Vinci. This also has 5 sparkles. Huh. And why isn't there a 5.2 Codex Max? Both Codex CLI and Codex use the config toml. Right. Choosing temporarily? That's weird phrasing. Did they vibe code this page? Shouldn't it be temporarily choosing a different local model? Because you can use a model command. No, that's fine. I'm going to use Codex max until I run out of tokens, I guess. Yeah, I already do have it included. Different Codex profiles. Profiles. Bundle a set of configuration values so you can jump between cells without any. Right. Okay. Values resolve in this order. Okay. Feature flags. Streamable shell? I don't think so. This is taking a long time to tell me how to install this. It has been 5 minutes already. And this is not pro mode. This is just regular extended thinking. Is IsoWeasel a bot? Probably, huh? I mean, they probably use it themselves. DaVinci sells 40. Nice. We are sandboxing the sandbox right now, so that's fitting. Control model and reasoning. Aiden's MDE. Codex reads Aiden. Blah, blah, blah. Persistent guidance. We should have like a globals agents MD somewhere. So I don't want to have these like per project. With your Codex jail, the clean and most controlled approach is install blah 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 .6 JSON. Yeah, we are going to do this. Right, it's time to install this. Wait, what were the depths? Yeah, that's called brittle. User bin and it's already failing. It's already failing. Where does it fail? 43. Why? Oh, because of this here. Should we just use... Wait. Hang on, I had a different shell thing that I had somewhere else. Wait, that was in... Let's copy this and look for where I do this. Yeah, it's just bin bash. That's fine. It's just bin bash. We are running an update, and we do not need best viewers. I already have them. And while Jesus takes the wheel, we are dealing with spam. Okay, this is fine. I still have this. Ugh. Oh, yeah, this is wrong. That's a good call. This is in a workspace. Right. Fine. Install the user. Right. Do we now have a user? Right. Apply ACLs. Right. So the first thing we're going to test is whether in Codex we can make it change the bash thing. Now install the Codex binary into Codex user home. Okay, so we're going to do Codex install bash. This should be fine. Oh, temp gets the newest thing. That's fine. So now we're going to do... Oh, we do have to make this executable. Workspace. Codex jail. That should be .sh properties. Why can't I change the properties? Hmm. And why can't I change these now? And these are kind of broken now. Hmm. Can still do stuff. Are you though? You are. So now we do /codex install. Oh, it probably wants me to run this directly, right? Version, asset, because your JS-based path doesn't include contact bin. Okay, can't do that. Codex command is this then. And then these. No, just these. Let's test that. Download. Version. No. And then this. Not found. Okay. So we need to find out the right path here. Do they even recommend? No. We need to look into. But should that be here and then releases? Releases. There is no muzzle. Right? No, wait. It's here. Right. Oh, it's rust minus V something something. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take this again. So this path is slightly wrong. No. So it should be this, and then Rust V would be here. Can I not put this into the Codex install now? Let's check. Codex. Ooh. So we're going to need to check. And it should be installed into local bin. We do have a codex there. Right. Okay. So we did this. We have this one. Authentication and first launch. Right, so this should be fine. Make gen. And then we're going to do to check what it generated. We have a run thing now. These are the right. Right. This does look fine. Can we run it now? No. To communicate the idea of the AI during the code, we put nasty comments inline the file. Well, I want to get rid of this one here. This is annoying. I installed some weird inclusion of FFI that I need to get rid of. I should also be able to just debug this, maybe. No, wait, this is... Changing to the requested working directory. Permission denied. Huh. So that failed. It should be in there. So I guess it is in the ini file then. Oh, it loads this one, right? Should be better. Okay. Oh, this is nice. We should have done this here. Support voice message code comments. Yeah. That is a good idea. And the recording is just you screaming for 10 seconds. So this version was still wrong here. Let's copy that over. Just in case we do need this at some point. Right. Right. I mean, you could also just do like a sound comment, and it's just a rickroll basically. Like you have a huge long function, and then there's like a 3-minute voice comment on them, and it's literally just a rickroll. I'm not explaining anything. Get rickrolled. Yeah. I mean, some people can identify rickroll by the YouTube URL, so you have to kind of circumvent that. But yeah. The failure is coming from system B before Codex ever starts. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. In system B props. Make gen, make run. No. Sorry. Move the Codex user out of home. Can we check the unit file? Yeah, the systemd file, I mean. Ooh. Oh, it has this twice. Why do you have that twice? No. Yeah, that's not good. Make gen, make run. Ooh, we have stuff. We have Codex. Sign in with ChatGPT. Yeah, this is great stuff. So now we need to go into high security mode. I can't click the link. And I can't copy the link because of the rotating ASCII. Open link. Okay. State mismatch. Interesting. So I click this link and I get state mismatch. So do we want API keys then, I guess? No, I do want to this. Open link. It might be because it tries to have this local thing. Some kind of localhost redirect. So maybe we do need Reading documents. I do wonder whether I could still get by with an API key though. Like if there is one included in whatever you have. Maybe. Yeah, we don't want that. We do want to use the ChatGPT bridge. We do have network enabled, so that should be fine. Okay, so this wants me to go to 1455. Do we have that? We kind of do. State mismatch. Is there any more details here? So we now have an AI debugging what probably the same AI put out at some point. Oh no, people are waking up. We might have to finish this tomorrow. We'll check the last reply and then I'm going to end stream for today. Now that. Hmm. This is fine. Seven minutes. It would be really neat to be able. Oh, you can just copy this one. Let's do private tab. State mismatch. No. Could also try to use Chrome maybe. No. The URL is fine, right? Not found. If I do this, I get a different response. No. Redirect, first type. that is a little more interesting. It tries to send me through some email validation. Not email validation, but some different login, I guess. That still fails, right? Check that actually. Where's my account? Settings. Checking the inbox. Continue. Continue. Tells me it's successfully logged in. Okay. This is fine. Okay, so this works now. Cool. So if we now are in so we do this. Oh wait, it is not version controlled. That is true. This is fine. So the first thing is, let's see. Although, let's first do git init. So we have this. We do not want all these. We want a. Where do we copy that from? Git ignore. No. Let's get another git ignore. Nonetheless, inspector. We want the Codex jail. Yeah. Guess we don't need these. Right. Init. No, we don't want the settings either, don't we? This is fine. We're going to remove this one. Commit. Right. Now we try this again. This one. Make run. So in here, I already changed that. Is this the last thing we changed? No. Let's try. So now we see it working. Kind of. My logo is in the way. So I don't find that. It should have that. And since we git initted this, we didn't get the first thing, so it kind of is in the right directory, I guess. We already have that. Shouldn't that be automatic? Guess not. That looks better. Oh. Oh, so maybe I just forgot the SEO, huh? No. It's empty. So I do want things to be like parallel, where I can have multiple projects at the same time. A lot better. What was the is it literally in mode? There's nothing in there, which is weird. Shouldn't there be